am so glad to see you. What a cozy background you have. And
I'm
Maria,
cold.
where are you located, Serena?
I'm in Winter Springs, Florida, and this is a cold day for Florida.
Yeah. Oh, great. Hi, Maria. So good to see you. Welcome.
Hi, so good to see you too. I'm excited for this. Hi, everyone.
Hi. And you're in a different, I've never seen this room in your house. This is cool.
It's the same room. I'm just on the sofa. I was like, it's
Oh,
5.
good.
I'm getting cozy.
Jessica, hi. It is so good to see you, girl.
So good to see you.
I am so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I didn't know if I was going to make it in time because I drove back from Lake Geneva today and I got back in time. So yeah, here I am.
This is wonderful. And Jenny Hummel, are we going to get to see you, or are you going to hide behind your...
I'm hiding behind my cute picture. Well, I got to tell you, it's cute as it's going to get. But sorry, y'all don't want to look at me right now.
Well, welcome. I am so happy to see all of you here and so honored and grateful to be the one delivering this information today. It really is information that has the power to change your life. And it really has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with your voice of inspired insight. So my invitation to you is to decide how you want to use this time today and what you would love to get out of it as we dig into this conversation about the powerful law of attraction. So has everyone heard of this before? Does everyone have, yes? Serena?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I love about universal law, about all the laws, is that our understanding of them really deepens. And it goes beyond the way that we learned how to learn in school, which is more of that like memorization way that we learned how to learn. And it goes into our instinctual parts of our being. It becomes the way we be in the world as we deepen our understanding of these laws. So I applaud all of you for being here to deepen your understanding. And I'm going to talk more about how I came to be the one delivering this information. So I'm going to share my screen. I did put together a slideshow for today. And I'll kind of go between sharing and then coming back for a little group chat. You can feel free to stay unmuted if it's quiet where you are. And don't hesitate to interrupt me with questions throughout the discussion. I did plug about a 2-hour timeline for this, but it does depend on the conversation and what happens. So anything you need to ask, feel free, just come on in and ask. And then I just want to make sure I'm hitting everything. Okay, let me just go ahead and share my screen here. I made my presentation in Canva, which I love. Okay, so the law of attraction. Here is my promise to you today. I'm going to explain the law of attraction in my words, and I'm also going to use the words of some pretty predominant voices in this conversation, dead and alive. And then I want to talk about why it matters to you in your life. Because ultimately we can philosophize and, talk about how everyone else should be living or the world works. But what really ultimately matters is, what does it mean for us? And how does it impact the way that we create results in our own life? So that's really what I'm here and most importantly here to do. And then how do you apply it? So what is the real application? How do we take it from this thought and this theory into actual application into our lives. I want to share with you what I've experienced as evidence to help you build your believing in the universal laws that a lot of people bundle all up into the law of attraction. And then if this is resonating with you, if there's something that you want to speak about specifically with regard to you and your life, I want to invite you to have a conversation with me where we can go deeper into the ways that you want to use this law in your own life to create results on your terms. So what is your promise to yourself? And this is a practice that I invite in every coaching call that I ever facilitate. It's to ask yourself, what is the intention that I am bringing into this time? And it's actually something that you can do no matter what you're using your time doing. It's a way for you to put the focus on the things that you would love to get out of your time investment. So, what is your promise to yourself for our time together today? What would you love to walk away from this call knowing? Okay, let's get right into it. What is the law of attraction? So, I think that this conversation really started on a national level in 2007 with The Secret, which was a documentary and a book, and Oprah Winfrey had the cast of the documentary on her show. And when I say it in my own words, it's literally how we create our lives. The law of attraction is how we create our results. If I'm using the definition is that which is like onto itself is drawn. And that definition came from Abraham Hicks. I have the Abraham Hicks book right here. And I'm happy to send any of these resources to you. Just email me after the meeting, and I can send you all the books and resources that I use to deepen my study. So this is, to me, this that which is like onto itself is drawn feels a little difficult to understand, which is why I wanted to bring in some more voices into the conversation. So let's start with Andrew Carnegie, a man who, during the turn of the last century, was one of the richest people on the planet. He spent the first half of his life acquiring his wealth and the second half of his life giving it away. Most public libraries mention Andrew Carnegie because he had something to do with that initiative in our country. So Andrew Carnegie, whether he knew it or not, was talking about the law of attraction when he was quoted as saying, "Any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available." So I want to just break this down a little bit so that we can draw the through line through all the ways that we're talking about this law today. He's talking about an idea. An idea is a thought. A thought is really an image. We think in images. We can have an idea about a conversation we're about to have. We can have an idea about an outfit we're going to put on. We can have an idea about a future that we might want to live, like a vision. And when we emphasize that idea with emotion, Andrew Carnegie is talking about really elevated emotion here. Fear is an elevated emotion. We know that emotion. Reverence is an elevated emotion. These are strong emotions he's talking about. So he's talking about a thought that is an image, attaching feelings to that thought, and saying, when this happens inside of us, the three-dimensional world begins to show us evidence of it. This is Abraham Hicks. This is a whole conversation in and of itself. Oh, Pam's here. Hi, Pam. Oh, you're still connecting. Okay, so I'm just going to keep rolling, Pam. Feel free to jump in if you have any questions. Abraham Hicks is actually a group of non-physical beings that speaks through the woman that you're looking at right now, named Esther Hicks. But that's a whole nother conversation. What I do want to say is what they say is what you are living is the evidence of what you are thinking and feeling every single time. What you are living is the evidence of what you are thinking and feeling every single time. Again, it's thought and feeling, the same thing that Andrew Carnegie just hit on in the first quote. Rhonda Byrne is the author and producer of The Secret. She's the one who read the book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles and created this research project around the ideas in that book that then became The Secret, that she boiled down to the idea of the law of attraction. The Science of Getting Rich was written in 1910 by Wallace Wattles. Rhonda Byrne created her version of it in 2007. And Rhonda Byrne says the law of attraction says that like attracts like. And when you think and feel what you want to attract on the inside, the law will use people, circumstances, and events to magnetize what you want. Again, there's this theme of thinking and feeling. A lot of people who watched The Secret had the understanding that we can think anything. We can force ourselves to think anything. Feelings are a little trickier. Feelings are a little more nuanced. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that nuance later. Albert Einstein is a person who was also very much aware of the law of attraction. And of course, he took it in more of a scientific perspective. But Albert Einstein said everything is energy. And that's all there is. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. We are energy, and our emotions create a vibration. When you hear people saying things like, I just gotta get in high vibes. I gotta get in high vibes. What they're actually talking about is elevated emotion. An emotion that creates an experience that they want to be living in that moment. So when we think about attracting an experience to us, and I'm talking anything, the experience of having a certain amount of money, the experience of being on stage, the experience of having the love of your life next to you, there is an energetic vibration that matches that experience. And the law of attraction gives you that experience in the outer world when you've created it in your inner world. And Albert Einstein saying it's not philosophy, it's physics. This is the final quote. This is Jack Canfield. He was in The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And Jack Canfield is responsible for all of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And his story is actually part of the whole film, The Secret. But Jack Canfield says, simply put, the law of attraction states that you will attract into your life whatever you focus on. So Jack's bringing in a new concept that we're also going to get into today, focus. He's bringing in the concept of our focus and our attention. He says, whatever you give your energy and attention to will come back to you. So if you stay focused on the good and positive things in your life, you will automatically attract more good and positive things into your life. I love this quote, but I have a little concern with this quote because positive things are great and we should absolutely be paying attention to them. But I fear that people read things like this and think that they shouldn't be experiencing anything but positive emotion. And that there might be this part of them that says, oh gosh, if I start feeling anything but positive, I'm going to attract more of all this negative gunk. So I'm just going to pretend the negative stuff isn't there. And then we put all the negative stuff in a big closet and it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're pretending it's not there. So there's a great message here, but the unfortunate side of this message is that people think that they shouldn't be feeling negative emotion. And I am here, please hear me. We have every emotion for a reason, so feel them all. Feel all the emotion. It's not going to mess up the law of attraction. What you want to expand, though, what you want to have more of, is what you want to be thinking more about. Bottom line. So let me stop share for a sec. How is everyone doing with this initial concept of, we're talking about the definition, defining the law of attraction? How does everyone feel? Good? Yeah? Yeah? Pam, are you there? Pam, do you just want to make sure you're there?
Sorry, honey, I am here. Sorry.
Great. Oh, totally fine. Hi.
Hi.
I know you came in a little late. We were just going through the definition of the law of attraction. Did you
That was
catch
great.
that?
I did. I got most
Okay.
of them and I took pictures of them. I love Jack Canfield. So.
Oh, good. Okay, great. And I'll send this recording out to everybody too.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Okay, great. So let me go back to, I think I could do this. Sharing this presentation, because I want to tell you about really what every quote that I've just hit on is it comes down to this. And this is the cause of our results. It's so simple. I mean, like so many things in life, right? It's so simple to look at this and have an intellectual understanding of it. And then you go out into your life and you try to apply it, and that becomes a little bit more of a challenge. But this is the cause of our results. This is the way our life is created. First, we have a thought. And what I said before is that we think in images. So if I said the word Mexico, you wouldn't spell Mexico. You have an image of Mexico in your mind. There's an image of that country to you. And with that image comes a feeling. And you know that we have this whole spectrum of emotion. Some feelings are very elevated and some feelings are very subtle, but we have feelings about absolutely everything. And those feelings determine the action that we take. I'm going to give you an example that I think is so easy to understand. You're walking through the grocery store in before times, in non-COVID times, and you see somebody that you kind of know, you haven't seen them in a really long time, and you're feeling kind of like icky, and you're like, oh my God, I hope they don't see me. I don't feel like talking to anybody. And then same scenario when you're feeling like you're queen of the world, like you love what you're wearing, you love your life, you can't wait to talk to that person in the grocery store. That's an action. That conversation is an action, and it's coming from the way you're feeling in that moment. We take action from feeling. Those actions create our lives. Those actions create our results. Now, this begs the question, what are these thoughts that we're thinking about a lot? Because we think a lot of the same thoughts every day. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this. I think like 80% of our thoughts are the same thoughts day to day. Where do those come from? They come from where you place your attention, which is what Jack Canfield talked about in his quote. Where you place your precious attention, that's what's creating these predominant images and thoughts in our minds. Sometimes it's a conversation that we're having over and over and over and over again. And we have a habit for that. We have a habit for what we're paying attention to. Okay, I want to walk you through a little example of how the law of attraction works. So let's pretend you are car shopping. Okay, so your car's fine, but you're in that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm due for a new car. I think I'm ready to start looking around for a new car. So you begin, first you make the decision. I'm gonna start looking at a new car. You begin to look around. You start to have conversations about cars. You start looking online at cars. Car advertisements inevitably blow you up everywhere you go. You're having talks about what people are driving. You're looking at cars when you're on the road. You're looking at cars when you're walking through the city. You are thinking about cars, and you're actually mentally rehearsing what it would feel like to be the person who drives a different car. That's your identity. You're actually putting on the identity of a person who drives a different car until you come to the one. You find the one that you are just on fire for. You know it so well by the time you're at that point, you could walk into the dealership and tell them every single customization exactly the way you want it. You're so clear. There's this moment when you're shopping for that car, you're so clear that you are actually the person who drives that new car. Even though you step out of your home into your driveway and you get into your same old car, in your mind, you're the person who drives this new car because you've gone through this entire process. And then there's the moment where it becomes such an obsession. You can't wait any longer. You go and you get the car. You get the new car. And you become the person who's in the three-dimensional world now driving the new car. Now, let me ask you something. Did that happen randomly, or was it predestined for you to drive that car? Or did you make that happen? When people say to me, and I know this all sounds in the beginning like woo-woo, because I remember the way it sounded to me in the beginning. It was like, this is crazy. But I was thinking about it. I've been thinking so much about this talk. And really the beginning of all of this for me, the beginning of all this conversation for me. And I was thinking, so if the law of attraction wasn't working, what would be the alternative? And here's what I came up with. And if you have any other alternatives, please chime in. But the other alternatives that I could come up with are life is random. It just happens all randomly for no reason whatsoever. Or life is predestined. It's all been laid out and you're just sort of a puppet moving through the motions to get to the final destination that something else or someone else wants you to get to. And those alternatives actually put us in the position of victims. We are victims of circumstance. When we think about the law of attraction, and we actually begin to think about the power that we yield over our own lives, now we're in control. Maria, did you want to chime in?
Nope, sorry, just listening, just looking.
Oh, okay, great. So my question for you is, which would you rather it be? Would you rather it be that this is all random or predestined, and we are simply moving through a maze that someone has created for us to move through? Or would you rather it be something that you actually have control over? So why does this matter? Why does all of this matter to you? Because when we understand the cause of our results and the law of attraction, we have real freedom in our lives. It's no longer waiting for life. We are literally creating our lives. We go from the passenger seat to the driver's seat of our lives. Now, the good stuff. How do you actually apply it? So we have this knowledge, we have this intellectual understanding, we have this concept that we have an idea, and yeah, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. But when I then go out into my life and I see something that's unpreferred, how do I create more preferred stuff? And I'm going to tell you how I learned how to do it. And this is my system of transformation. The way that I have learned how to actually work with these laws and apply them to my life is the exact way that I take every one of my clients through. And it's a system of transformation. And I'm going to talk to you about exactly what each of these words means. So in the center, when we start with discontent and desire, this is actually giving yourself permission to lean into things that are unpreferred in your life and create a vision of what is preferred. And I know this sounds like, well, duh. I mean, like, sometimes you can look at this and be like, yeah, that's easy. Well, it's not always easy, because a lot of us won't give ourselves permission to see the unpreferred out of things like, I should just be grateful for what I have. I have so much. Things are great. Things are fine. I love everything. There's a belief maybe that the minute you look at the unpreferred, all of the things that you like about your life are just going to fall away because you're no longer like paying attention to them. So looking at things that are unpreferred in your life is a very courageous thing. And it's not an easy thing to do. And it informs what we would desire. The discontent informs the desire. And this is the vision for your life. In this discovery step that I take you through, discovery is discovering that you have a vision for your life. In fact, you are always visioning, whether you are conscious of it or not. The law of attraction isn't like a switch that you turn on or off. It's always working. It's just a matter of whether you want to become intentional about the way you're working with it, or if you want it to keep working on autopilot. So when you're in this discovery stage, you are creating a vision for a future experience that you want to be living. You're making decisions about who you want to be. And that's where we get to the identify piece. When Albert Einstein talked about matching energies, he was talking about the energy of who we are being. We have an energetic pattern to who we are being and how we show up in the world. And that identity also gives us a habit of what we pay attention to. We have a habit of what we pay attention to, and we have a habit of how we see ourselves. But just like when you're doing that car shopping, when you begin to put on a vision of something different, you are literally changing your identity in that moment. You are putting on a new identity, and you are mentally rehearsing a new you. From that new identity, we go to observe. you begin to observe the things when you're thinking about the cause of your results. You think about that progression: thought, feeling, action, result. When you're having an unpreferred result and you understand the cause of your results, you can then say to yourself, I'm having an unpreferred result. How can I back into the tweak that I can make to create the different result? What's the different thing that I can put in this results machine to create a different progression? So we then replace whatever it is that's creating the unpreferred result with something that would create a preferred result. And then all of this is hugged in two very important things. One is support. And support is really important because, have you ever heard the phrase, you can't read the directions from inside the box? What that phrase is talking about is that inside your mind, it is very hard for you to see what somebody outside of your mind can see and outside of your life can see. You know, I work with personal stylists a lot. Maria is a personal stylist. A personal stylist comes over to your house and looks in your closet and sees things that you can't see because you're looking at that closet every day. Somebody like Maria comes over and says, well, why don't you just put this with this? And it's mind-blowing because you're in there every day and you just never put it together. It's the same thing that support does for your thinking. The other thing that I have all of this hugged in is celebration. You know, there's a difference between episodic manifestation and transformation. You can look up manifesting all over YouTube. People are like, I manifested $10,000 and I manifested a trip to Puerto Rico and I manifested Louis Vuitton boots, or, you know, whatever the thing is. And that's great. And it really does work. That is how our brains can work. But there's another thing that I think is more important and more sustainable and way more fun, which is transformation. This means that we have created results in every area of our life. We see how the dots are connected. We're very clear on the way that the result was created. And we're also very clear that inevitably, it's not about the thing. It's not about the getting. It's about who we become in the process. It's about how in touch we get with how extremely powerful we are. And that we are fully sourced and supplied by something that is not our bank account. How's everybody doing? Does anybody have any questions? Here, let me just stop share for a sec. How's everyone doing? Any questions coming up?
I just want to say that last thing you just said was amazing. Like I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like leaning forward and I can just like feel the energy. So this is just great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. I'm glad it's serving, Maria.
Mary, would you say that one more time, what you just said? Because
Oh, sure. Yeah, inevitably, it's not really about the getting. It's not about the stuff. It's about who we become in the process. We are divine beings. Literally. I want to talk to you about the three biggest mistakes. I don't know if that's really the right word, but these to me are the three biggest misconceptions or mistakes when we're talking about the law of attraction. And the first one is a biggie. I'm going to use the word God. God just seems to be a word that we all understand, but here's what I want to support everyone in knowing If that word is not your word, fill in with your word. Universe, source energy, creative intelligence. I want to share with you why I decided to use the word God today. This word used to be charged for me. It was charged with dogma, and it was charged with an idea of something that was actually human, that was judging me and punishing me if I was doing things wrong. And this, unfortunately, makes a lot of us, myself included, feel like there's a possibility that I'm wrong. Just fundamentally. If we believe that we came from something that judges us and punishes us, it is a fundamentally flawed belief system in the law of attraction. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not flawed, and you are worthy of all good things. And when you really come to understand that, you understand that this energy, this unconditionally loving energy, just wants you to decide what you want and move closer to that. And it's really that simple. But it is so gosh darn hard to believe that because of how so many of us, by very well-intended people, began to understand the concept of where we came from. We came from an unimaginably loving energy that it's very hard for our human brains to understand, because the only thing that we really understand is humans. So how could we possibly understand this unimaginably, unconditionally loving force that is just here to support and supply our every desire? I am here standing, believing that this power is exactly what wove every one of us into existence. It's the reason that we are breathing, and it is the reason that we are here. We are divine energy stepped down into human form, and we all originated from it. We all originated from the most loving, powerful energy. We can't even conceive of it. So that's number one. When you get that you are not wrong, you are right, and you are worthy, and you are divine. And all you gotta do is figure out what you would love to live and start focusing on that. And all God, universe, source energy wants to do for you is help you do that. The second most common mistake is impatience. We live in a fast food society. I mean, this is my favorite example of this. And I know it well because I've done it. So whenever you buy a new book about a new eating program, a new diet, and there's the first part of the book that's like the research and the science and like the authors telling you about why they eat this way, and you're like, cut the shit, get me to the recipes and the food. Anybody done that before? Huh? Yeah, right? You're like, give me the do's and the don'ts and the recipes. I don't want to hear the mumbo jumbo. Well, this is an example of our impatience because we want the results now. I'm like, give me the recipes and give me the foods that I can eat and I can't eat. And we do the same thing when it comes to the law of attraction. But what happens when we let ourselves be in the unknowing for longer and we allow our instincts and our feelings to guide us more than our intellectual mind? That mind that is just like, that mind that goes, show me the money. You know, I always think of that line. when we allow ourselves to be for longer in the unknowing and sometimes the discomfort of the unknowing, I think we all experienced that in 2020. We actually get more in touch with what our soul is telling us. It takes time, it takes quietness, and it takes stillness. And it doesn't take the energy of push and get it done and work that a lot of us are accustomed to. So the final like biggest mistake that I see around the law of attraction is lack of support. It's lack of having somebody, pardon me, who's helping you see the nuance of this law. There is action and there is energy behind action. You can ask somebody in your household to take out the trash. Maria, would you please take out the trash? And it's just that request. Would you please take out the trash? And then Maria could say, yes, or you know what, I can't right now. Or you could be like, every time the trash is full, I have to ask you to take it out. It's your turn. I've done it every other time. These are the same requests coming from two very different energies. This is the exact same thing that we do with our thoughts and our desires. There's a big difference between desiring for more abundance. You know, we think about money when we think about abundance. And thinking, I would just love to see the impact that I'm making in my bank account via the dollars. And I'd love to give these charitable contributions. And I'd love to support these local businesses with these dollars. And I'd love to buy organic, nourishing food for my body with these dollars. There's a difference between that and saying, oh my God, if I don't make this money and I can't make the mortgage payment, I'm not going to survive. I'm going to crumble and it's over. That energy is scarcity and lack. And when you're trying to use the law of attraction from that energy, you're actually just getting more of that energy back. And you can still make money in that energy. I think we all probably have done that before. It's just not sustainable. And you're making the result your God. When you say, I'm going to die unless I get this, and when we're in fear, that's what it feels like. We're actually making the result our source. Okay, so here's my evidence to you that this actually works. In the middle there, that's me and my coach and mentor, Felicia Searcy. In March, I will actually have been her client for 3 years. And for 3 years, I have been on Zoom calls with her 2, sometimes 4 times a week. So a huge investment of time. And the reason that I invest all of that time is because I can't think of anything more important in life than to understand this, which is why I am so on fire with sharing it with you. So this is the completion of my 2nd full year as a life coach. And that has been clear since the onset of my time with Felicia, being a life coach. I've always known that, not always, but since I started with Felicia, I knew that I wanted to be a life coach. And I actually had gotten my life coach certification. Now, what has happened because of Vision is that I'm now a life coach for a company called Good Picks. And this came literally, I have Ebeth, Jenny, and Maria all on the call tonight. Jenny works with me at Good Picks, and Ebeth and Maria know me because of Good Picks. Good Picks was literally a result that I could not predict or see, but it matched the vibration of my vision. So I kept working with my vision of being a life coach. I got this job actually to create a bridge between working for a company and working full-time on my own. And I began to see the opportunity for a coaching program inside the technology. This was before, I mean, this was after I'd already been hired and inside the company. It's a result that I want you to see as at the end of the vision. I always say this or something better still. Good Picks is something even better than I could see, truly. My relationship to my father. You know, in this work, I do a forgiveness, a lot of forgiveness every year, big time, every couple months. My relationship with my dad is completely different. And I will tell you something. I am pretty clear that getting, feeling very healed with my relationship with my dad is exactly what led me to my soulmate, who I met in 2020, named Dan. So before I met Dan, I had been in relationships with women exclusively for 15 years. I didn't, it wasn't like the label lesbian or bisexual. I didn't feel any sort of, I didn't really feel like any of those labels ever really fit me. I think a lot of people say that, whether they're in the queer community or not. But my identity was so ingrained in being with women because I'd been with women for so long. The idea of being with a man was not even something that I thought would happen. And staying open to that possibility of a complete identity shift is part of what is so difficult and challenging about this work. I easily took alcohol out of my life a year and a half ago. I got really clear that alcohol was not the best thing for me to have in my life. And I knew it, you know, and I would say it, and I would talk about being hungover all the time. And I would talk about, I would talk about the wine I drank and gosh, why did I have that last glass of wine? I mean, it was coming out of my mouth all the time. Every other time I tried to take alcohol out of my life, even for 30 days, I would get 20 days in and give up. I could not do it. My identity was so ingrained in drinking wine, I couldn't give it up for 30 days without. And one day I was in Austin, Jenny, I was in Austin, Texas. I just said, I'm done. I'm clear. I was reading a book called Sober Curious, a book I didn't even want to touch with a 10-foot pole. I didn't even like it when people would post about dry January. I was that much of a drinker. It triggered me when people posted about dry January. And I started to get curious about sobriety, and easily alcohol hasn't been in my life. I haven't had a sip of alcohol in a year and a half. And then the biggest thing is my relationship to God. I mean, even when I say that word, it still feels kind of crazy to use that word, but I use that word with such ease now, because it has nothing to do with any religion anymore. And it has everything to do with understanding, trusting, and believing and building all of these things on a daily basis, that where we came from is not human. It is not judging or punishing or making us bad or wrong. We're not born with original sin. I threw that out the window. We are born as original blessings, and we are divinely appointed to live this life. I am no more special than you, but we are all extremely special. And we are all here given these amazing gifts to share with the body of humanity. And do you know how we know what those are? They're the things we love to do, not the things we have to force ourselves to do. Now, I'm a little nervous. This wasn't like I just jumped on and didn't do any preparation and I'm not shaking a little bit because I'm nervous, of course. But I love doing this. I love delivering these messages. And I want to do it for the rest of my life to as many people as I possibly can. This is how we bring our greatest contribution to the world. We know it because we love it. And when we are in love with what we're doing, we're attracting that. We're creating more of that. Imagine what that means on a global level. Imagine the more people living a life that they would love. Wow, I flew through it. It's not even 5. It's not even an hour in. If you would like to have a conversation with me about what it looks like to be in a system of support that helps you apply these laws consistently to your own life, I am going to put, let me stop share here. I am going to put my Calendly link. You know what? I'm just going to email it to you.
Good.
I'm going to email you my Calendly link. And if you want to sign up to have a 1-hour Zoom conversation with me about how to apply these laws to your life, I would absolutely love it. That is, I am very clear that is what I'm here to do. So I will send you all that email when we wrap up tonight. But I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I think it's fabulous. And I feel very blessed that, and I'm a big one on God things. And I've had 2 happen today already. So, and I had a rough day yesterday, a really rough day. So I want to thank Jenny because she's the one that gave me this God gift.
Oh,
But
what's the other? Tell me about your God gifts today.
well, I have a Zoom Bible study I do. And we're reading the book, great book. Oh, my husband's reading it. He took my chapter to read, but it's Michael Bishop Curry. He's the one that did the wedding, Meghan Markle's wedding. He was the Black priest. He is a bishop out of North Carolina. He is such a cool guy. And his book is so good. I'll get it before we get off and just show it to you. Great book. So we're reading it, and it was a really good chapter today. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my gosh, love is the way. Oh, I need to.
Oh my God, it's a great book. So Serena, we did chapter 8 today, which interestingly enough is about in 2003 when the Episcopal Church accepted gay priests, and it was just a great discussion. But I moved here a year and a half ago. So anyway, I don't need to get into my stuff, but I've really enjoyed this. And I think you're really good at what you do, Mary, and you have a wonderful, calming sense about you that is easy to listen to, and you just have a real gift.
Oh, thank you, Pam.
I totally second that, and I will say I'm the girl and with no face showing. I'm a faceless person, but no. And I knew Pam would enjoy this, and our friend Judy was going to join as well, but her son was leaving today, and she knew it was kind of iffy. But I think Judy would have really enjoyed this as well.
She would have.
But no, I mean, and Mary, when I was trying to explain to both of them, I'm like, Mary has. I mean, I almost think, and I'm cutting myself down, but I mean, like, I so need her kind of calmness and the way that you analyze things that go down in your life, just regular real stuff like you're saying, and the way that you kind of approach it. When I'm on automatic freak out zone and type A, and oh my God, thinking about all the Claire and Pam is definitely like me, but Mary has got a great sense of calm, and really a great way of like asking the question, well, is that what you expected to happen from this? And I'm like, huh? You totally turned me around. So I need Mary in my life, I will say that, that's for sure.
Oh,
I know. I texted Jenny because I was late walking the lake getting back here, and so I was sweaty. I'm like, I'm showing myself. So why the heck are you showing yourself?
yeah, Jenny, you always look great.
Okay, it's okay. But yeah, I'm a little, at least I walked the lake.
Anybody else want to come in and share? And honestly, you don't have to share about me. I'd love to hear what you think about you and applying these laws to your life.
I think one thing that was really helpful for me is I'm very all or nothing. And so I always felt like, oh, I'm doing it wrong, because if I'm having a negative emotion, then I'm failing at the law of attraction. So
Yeah.
I kind of love that you include about all the emotion that's involved. So, and about how to redirect that. So that was super helpful for me.
Oh, Ebeth, I am so glad that you shared that. And I thank you for sharing that, because, we actually have a habit of making ourselves wrong and self-recriminating, even just for feeling anything outside of, who we think we're supposed to be being in any given moment. And if we can look at our feelings, Abraham Hicks calls them our emotional guidance system. If we can think about our feelings from a place of curiosity, then we can say, what are you helping me know? Mm-hmm. And if you talk to God, you can say, God, what are you helping me see via this feeling? Because it's just communication. It's just like symptoms in the body. When our body symptomatizes, our body's saying, hey, I want you to listen to me. And whatever that is, leading up to the new year, I was feeling a lot of pressure because I have goals. I'm really plugged into my goal, my vision for the year. And I started to feel all this pressure in my ears, like sinus pressure. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Right? My body is like, oh, you want to see pressure? I'll show you. But not in a way that's like, it's just becoming curious about what's happening instead of that constant habit of needing to make it right or wrong or good or bad. If we can just be curious about it. That's interesting.
Well, and someone in my Bible study, I thought, brought a very good point up today, and that was, we've all changed during this COVID period, whatever it is, and some good, some bad. But her point was to, really ask God to learn from it, and to not just go right back when and if we ever can. But I thought that was a really good thing that I thought of afterwards, was because there are a lot of good things, I think, that have come out of this. And I think that it would be very easy to go right back. And so that's something to think about. How has this changed you? And what things do you want to embrace and keep going forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are, there are these stages of fear. And, there's stages of, moments like we went through in 2020. And the first stage is like, get it out of here, get it away, get it over with. I want out, I want out, I want out. And then there's surrender. And it's like, well, I'm going to be here. so here I am, I'm just going to be here and I'm surrendering to it. And then the final stage, which Pam was just talking about, is I don't want it to leave until I have gleaned all the gold from it. I'm actually asking it to stay and saying, you can stay as long as I am here long enough to see everything that I'm here to see. I don't want you to go because I don't want to miss the opportunity that you are presenting me. That is mastery. Not easy. Not easy, but mastery.
Something that really stuck out to me in the slide where you were describing your own experiences. Well, one of the things that stuck out to me is like, wow, I think I'm so much older than she is. Only because of, life experience. But one of the things that I just find so interesting is this idea of transitions. Sometimes I think it's really easy to be like, oh, well, I was here and now I'm there. Like it's very definitive. And in my life, I feel like the law of attraction really, I can really see it when I realize like I'm kind of always in transition. Like I'm always changing on a lot of different fronts. Like some things like my relationship with my husband right now, that's been like really solid for a long time. And I've had that. So that's not in flux. Maybe my career is a little bit more in flux, but like 20 years ago, it was the opposite, right? My career was like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm really looking for that person I want to be with. And so, as you know, with Good Picks, I'm always trying to do new things. And so that's where I feel like a lot of my transitions are right now. So it's just so nice to be supported and be reminded that there are other people out there who are thinking this way and are looking at the world this way. And those are going to be the right people for me to connect with, as opposed to that, like pound it out. How many new clients can I get? How many, it's like, okay, just be super open. And what did you say? This or something better or something better still. I love that, so.
You can write the experience that you want to live. I mean, I'm talking this many hours a week. I work this many hours a week. I generate this amount of money a year, a month, a week. I work with this many clients. It feels like this when I'm in conversation with these clients.
Yeah.
Like you can just get so specific and allow your mind to really move through the world as if that is your reality. Like you're test driving a new car.
Right. And then it is your reality,
And
right?
it is.
I mean, people have told me for a long time I live in complete la la land. And I'm like, I love my la la land. It works for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the alternative?
Right. To be unhappy in their reality. Like, no.
Yeah, the other reason that this work is so courageous is that a very small percentage of people on our planet think this way. So when you're surrounded by people who believe that life is a struggle and it's got to be hard, and you come around and say no, it actually doesn't. Like we can just enjoy most of this. Now you're challenging their way of life. And that, it can create some difficulty.
I loved it when you said you said this, and then I saw somebody post something like this on social media, but you said, imagine who like the perfect you or your perfect self, or like what the perfect, like what would be your perfect day, when you wake up in the morning, what you look like, what you do, who you talk to, how you act, how you react, all those things. And then you said, and show up as her. And then so make it a point to just show up as that person every day, which is really kind of easy to do. Like if you think about it, it's, if you break it down like that, I struggle with wanting to do, like I've got great ideas and horrible follow through. And I mean, I really do. I self-admit it. And, you know, but that when you said that, I was like, you know, you just got to do it, you know, and even if it's a little bit a day, or, you know, but even if, you know, you make these tiny little strides, but I think that's real. And I liked that.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I think something too that you just hit on, Jenny, is this idea that you know, we're most valuable when we're being the most productive. So there's a big message that, and when I say productive, I think we all know what I'm talking about, is revenue generating. I mean, we have a message in our society that says like that, you know, our value is placed on our revenue generating activity. And when you get really clear that there is nothing that you have to do to earn your existence, there is no earning your place here, earning your spot here. You are here by divine appointment. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and do a thing to earn your place on earth. Then you get to do things you want to do. You get to desire for the things that you do. Is that resonating, Jenny?
No, it definitely is. And I mean, I definitely live in that world that you're talking about. And I push myself very, very hard. And it's frustrating when you don't get kind of, or you get, you know, you take 2 steps forwards and 4 steps back, or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, I think it's very, very real. It's something that I could definitely use help in the area. Pam's laughing over there because she knows it's true.
I was just going to say that something that I've been trying the last couple of days, and I can't remember where I read it. And this sounds really, really so simple and silly, but is when you get out of bed in the morning, the first thing you need to do is smile. Either it's someone or your dog or whatever it is, but how important that is for setting the tone for the day. Just literally the act of smiling. I mean, it was read a joke, read a, you know, and if you go right to the news, you're probably not going to be smiling. So I just thought that was really interesting. And I've been trying to do that and I'm pretty, I mean, I'm pretty outgoing, I think anyway, but it's something I had not thought about, that just that simple act of smiling.
Yeah, another day, another gift.
So I was just going to share one of the ways that this has started working in my life, maybe, and I'm going to embarrass her, but so I did what Jenny was talking about, where you design your perfect day. And so I always thought I would love to get up and exercise first thing in the morning, but I don't like to exercise. I don't like, but I somehow I thought this is what my perfect day looked like. It started with that. So on Father's Day last year, I called my mom and I said, hey, I have this really bad idea. Let's go walking every morning. And she's in Florida and I'm in DC. So we started walking Monday through Friday. We walk 3 miles every morning. And it's such a lovely way to start the day. Well, usually we're complaining. We're like griping about like how cold it is, how many layers we have on, you know, that sort of thing. But it's a way, it is an example of how like I had this idea and then I needed the support. I had to put the support in place to make this happen, but now it's a non-negotiable. It is part of my day, and it's a really great way to start our day. So
you get on the phone, you put your earbuds in, and you walk together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that, and now you look forward to it. Oh,
some days more than others, right?
yeah. You have your accountability buddy.
It is accountability and getting to know each other on a different level.
Yeah. Oh, that is so amazing, Ebeth and Serena. Yeah. Yeah, all of our relationships deepen You know, what happens when we put things on autopilot is that they go unnoticed.
Mhm.
And that can happen so easily in relationships, especially with family. So, gosh, to deepen your relationship with your mother, how cool.
Well, you know.
That might still be up for discussion.
Yeah, Serena is Ebeth's
Oh,
mother.
oh my goodness, that's so cool. I love that.
So cool.
My mother would have loved this too. I'm bummed. Jenny, we should have got my mother. I'll give her the recording.
Yes, great.
Hi, Mom. I love you. I would have invited you had I known.
Jessica, did you want to chime in with anything? We haven't heard from you yet.
The thing I would love to ask you, Mary, how do you feel like this has worked so well? I think what I'm asking is, are you journaling this out? Are you meditating this? Like, what is your process, or what do you feel like has worked the best for you?
Great question. The first thing is that I've stayed in a system of support with Felicia. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, I'm on a Zoom call, much like this, with my mentor. And this is generally the progression of the way things go, both with my clients and what I observe in her community, is that, you know, we begin with this thing like, show me how to make, you know, this amount of money. Like, I want to, like, show me how to do this. I know I want to be a life coach and I know I want to make this amount of money. Give me the formula. And in the beginning, the questions that I had for Felicia all sort of had to do with that. And then when you begin to understand the nuance, which is the feeling behind the thought. So when I'm talking about earning our existence, these things come out of the woodwork after you've given somebody access to your thinking for a little while. They begin to really know you. You start a relationship. So through these 3 years with Felicia, I have begun to see things that, I mean, I'm pretty convinced I wouldn't be in a relationship with Dan if it wasn't for being in a system of support with Felicia. So number one is giving my mentor access to my thinking. And by that it's going on Zoom calls and having conversations about what's happening in my life, not necessarily what goals I want to create, which is kind of like where it starts always. But then what begins to happen is like, I'm having this really difficult time with my brother, or like, I'm in this really difficult conversation with my dad about the holidays. Like, how do I do this part? And then you understand how that connects to everything else. So that's one. Two is I write my vision every morning in a bullet point form. When I talk about vision, I'm talking full spectrum. So the 4 areas that I work in are vocation, how you use your gifts, your talents, and your capabilities; money and time freedom, what is the number in your bank account, and what does your calendar look like; relationships, and health and well-being. So every day I start my day by plugging into the woman I am in my vision. I serve this many clients, that the impact shows up in my bank account in this way. I wake up with vibrant health. I feel well rested. I feel flexible, strong, confident, and sexy. Those are my favorite words. I'm in a loving relationship with Dan, who I love, and our relationship deepens and broadens every day. I love being in relationships with my family members. We speak in healthy, open, awesome ways. You know, I'll just say things like that. And then I meditate and I do gratitude every day and achievement every day. When Jack Canfield talks about using your focus and your energy to see that which you want to expand, it is up to us, no matter what is happening, in the facts and the conditions of our lives to see the abundance. So that's gratitude. See the abundance. Achievement is know that you did something. Know that you did it. And define it as such. And that's every day and every week of my life, really for the past almost 3 years, I've been doing that. It's consistency. And it's not to say that the vision doesn't change, but
So-
it informs.
So you take time every day for all 4 of those pillars.
Absolutely.
And you, I mean, like, or is this like okay, I'm doing this when I wake up? I mean, like, I mean, is this something that just kind of happens throughout your day?
I wake up, usually I try to wake up between 5:30 and 6:30 every day. In the summer, obviously it's easier to go earlier, but especially when I lived right in front of Lake Michigan and like the sun was rising, that was like, I wanted to see that every day. But I try to wake up between 5:30 and 6:30, and I just go right into vision. I just go right. It's the first thing that I do. It's the first thing that I want to think about. It's the first thing that I want to decide in a day. And the rest of it just flows, really right after that with coffee. my favorite treat is, gosh, a cup of coffee. Yeah, so every day I do that. Anybody else? Gosh, I really sped through this. Well, I just want to say how honored and grateful I am that you all chose to spend time with me tonight, talking and thinking about the law of attraction. And most importantly, really thinking about this unimaginably loving energy that we all came from. The energy that a lot of us term God. And understanding how life-changing it can be to begin to put on the idea that no one's judging and no one's punishing. They're just here waiting for you to tell them what you want by the way you feel and what you pay attention to. I'm going to email all of you the recording to this. You can watch it over and over again. And I'm also going to email my Calendly link. If you would like to have a conversation with me, I would love it. I would love to talk to you about the vision that's coming alive in you and how to apply the law of attraction to your life in an even more effective way. This has just been lovely. I've loved every minute of it. I'm going to be doing these every month on a different topic, and it's always on Instagram, and I can email it to you as well, all the info if you want to keep coming back. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook.
What's your Instagram? Is it just your name, Mary?
It's Mary L. Houlihan. Yep, Maryl Houlihan, Houlihan. I'll include that in the email too.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you, everyone. This was so fun.
Have a lovely evening.
You too.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.